We're very excited today to have General Gordon with us. As she said, she was born and raised in Selma, graduated from Selma High School, and spent time teaching chemistry at Benjamin Russell High School in Alexander City, and as a vice principal for a period of time, and graduated from Birmingham Southern. And during the time that she was working in these civilian jobs, she was also in the National Guard, which many of you know takes a good bit of time, more so today and during the time that she was coming along than when I was coming along. But she was commissioned in 1981 through the Alabama Military Academy. Many of you probably don't know we have an Alabama Military Academy. She was the first Alabama National Guard General Officer in 2000, female General Officer in 2009, and its first female Adjutant General in Alabama National Guard history. Before her selection as the Adjutant General by the governor, she served in a number of key assignments as Assistant Adjutant General and Commander of the 67th Troop Command. She assumed her duties as the 42nd Adjutant General of Alabama on July 28, 2017. Governor Ivey serves as the Commander-in-Chief. General Gordon serves as the commander of all of the National Guard, both Army and Air in Alabama, some 12,000 citizen soldiers and airmen. She didn't just come into the military experience by happenstance. Her family is deep with military history. She met her husband, Lieutenant Colonel David Gordon, while she was attending the Alabama Military Academy, and her brother joined the Air Force Reserve and became a brigadier general in the Army Guard. Her father served as a lieutenant colonel in the Air Guard and was also principal of an elementary school. Her mother was the first grade teacher and later a school administrator. I have read and heard that General Gordon believes that mentorship is an essential part of her position. She has been quoted as saying, "I learned the most important thing you can do is to take care of your soldiers, airmen, and their families, both professionally and personally. You need to give them the tools and opportunities to be successful in the military and civilian life." Good advice for any leader, and she has done that. General Gordon's decorations and awards include the Army Distinguished Service Medal, which is the Army's highest peacetime award. She's currently leading the Alabama National Guard in what has been described as a global initiative launched by the National Guard Bureau in 1993. The state partnership program with Romania is one of 87 partnerships linking our nation's military, security forces, and disaster response organizations in a cooperative, mutually beneficial relationship. General Gordon has a tremendous job today. We were talking today about the difficulty in recruiting, both in the Army Reserve and the National Guard. But the things that she has done and is doing in trying to encourage young people as a mentor and encouraging those who work under her to do the same thing is what we need to attract young men and women into the military, both active, Army Reserve, and National Guard. We appreciate, General Gordon, you're taking the time from your very busy schedule to be with us today, and we're excited about having you, and we look forward to your remarks. Let's give General Gordon a warm Kiwanis welcome.
General Clark. Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. And I appreciate the invitation to come and speak with all of you today. I also bring you greetings from Governor Kay Ivey, my boss, and as mentioned, Commander-in-Chief of the Alabama National Guard. And it is Election Day. I do like my job. Hint, hint. Okay. All right. So if I could have the next slide. The National Guard has a very long history. We are the oldest military organization in the country. Our roots go back to 1636 during that first muster at Concord in Lexington. And the Alabama Guard was formed in 1807. That's why there have been 42 of me throughout the years. It's taken a while. And throughout history, we have often been the first and always been the last lines of defense for America's interest. Our citizen soldiers remain true to our historical roots as warriors in everyday communities who are always ready and always there whenever we are called to do whatever we are called. The next slide. In doing whatever is called, a lot of times people don't understand that it is the National Guard that has a dual mission. It is the only service component, reserve or active, that has a dual mission. We have the federal mission, which is to go out and fight and win our nation's wars. And then there is the state mission, which is why the governor is the commander-in-chief. In our federal missions, we deploy, we fight our nation's wars. We currently have units deployed. We currently have soldiers deployed. And as of 2018, the reserve components made up 45% of the military that had been deployed in the war on terrorism, 45%. So let me tell you a little more about the Alabama National Guard on the next slide. We have 8 major commands in the Army side of it. The 20th Special Forces Group located here in Birmingham, and Colonel Vallis is our commander. We have a Seaburn Brigade, chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear, which is located in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The 62nd Troop Command is in Montgomery. 122nd Special Troops Command is in Selma, Alabama. The 135th Expeditionary Sustainment Command, and we have Captain Lambert here as the rear deck commander. They are currently deployed. They are located here in Birmingham, Alabama. The 142nd Military Brigade in Decatur, Alabama. The 167th Theater Sustainment Command in Anniston at Fort McClellan. And then the 226 Maneuver Enhancement Brigade down in Mobile, Alabama. So that's where we get about 10,000 people with all of those. And then there's the Joint Forces Headquarters and a few other units that are not major commands. All those are commanded by 06s. The Air National Guard, also, we have the Air Refueling Wing represented here today, the 117th, and the 187th Fighter Wing is in Montgomery, Alabama at Danley Field. And there's also a 226 Combat Communications Group down there in Dothan. Some of the recent force structure changes, as we have managed to get some new units into the state of Alabama, is the 123rd Quartermaster Company, which is known as a classification and inspection company. And you know how the Army, the military always likes acronyms. Well, they are called the PSYCO. Classification Inspection Company. That's how we get PSYCO. And so 280 people. And so that's a lot of people. And then the 5,001st Quartermaster Company, which is our field feeding. This is where all our cooks in the Alabama National Guard are assigned, and then we parcel them out to the different units, and they go to annual training and everything with the different units. Some more force structure changes. It says EOD divestiture. Explosive Ordnance Detachment, we had an EOD unit in Opelika, Alabama, an 06 command. We had a battalion, we had several companies. That is a very, very hard skill to find. very hard to fill. And then when we had an opportunity, somebody else said, "Oh, I want it." I said, "You can have it," because I needed those other units. So we divested of them. They will fold their flag in January. The 122nd Troop Command, we've made it a special troops command. We've put some of the administrative stuff from our Joint Force Headquarters under them, and we've put our band under them. We have a great Army National Guard band. If you have ever had the opportunity to hear the 151st Army Band, it's ours. They're fantastic. I'm not sure if they're marching in the parades Friday or not, but if they are, you need to listen to them. The 226 Combat Communications Group is expanding, and we are continuing to grow the 117th Intelligence Squadron that is located out at the airport. Now, if we look at our next slide, this is a big thing for the people in Montgomery because that's where Danley Field, the home of the F-35s, are going to be. The Red Tails. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the fact that our F-16s are called the Red Tails because we maintain the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen, and they were the Red Tails. And one of the things that we have, because the new F-35 is stealth, so to speak, and cannot be detected by radar, we're lobbying, and I've talked to all our congressional delegation, we want red tails on our aircraft. And they're saying, well, you know, that radar might pick it up and they might see it. And hey, by the time, if they've seen you from the side and see that red tail, it's too late. So it's not going to do anything for you. So we are fighting the issue, trying to get the manufacturer, and I'm not above asking anybody who can help to get me red tails. And when we were up there visiting our Codell a month or so ago, the wing commander was saying, we would like one or two with red tails. And I've said, no, I want them all with red tails. We're going to have red tails. They're all going to be red tails. So that is a big push, getting that ready. Also, there's about $110 million worth of construction that's going on down there at the airport next to Danley Field in Montgomery in order to prepare for these new aircraft. Those new aircraft the first one should arrive in December of 23, and there will be one heck of a party when we get those aircraft. In the meantime, we're divesting ourselves slowly of the F-16, sending our pilots to training. And so if you thought you wanted to ride in the back of an F-16, time's running out. So, and if you've ever thought you wanted to do that, you might want to think twice, because when they pull 9Gs, whew, that's tough. That's tough. And yes, I have had one. That's one of the perks of the job. So some of our legislative updates, the background picture is every May, we recognize all our airmen and soldiers, you know, the top airmen and soldiers with the governor's award luncheon. That is part of my, you see the governor in the middle, and to the left of the governor, having to make sure I do this, is my command senior enlisted leader, and he's Air Force. And then the Air Command Chief on the right side is my State Command Sergeant Major. And notice there are a lot of females up there. That's because they're the best person for the job, not because they're female. The best person for the job. So today, state elections. We are not involved in any of the cybersecurity that you directly involved in any of the cybersecurity that you may be hearing about. A lot of National Guard units have been called into. We work with the Secretary of State's office all through the year, ensuring that everything that they're doing, if they need our help, we work with them. Obviously, federal elections, the Senator Shelby's seat is up for grabs, and you know, he has been a tremendous supporter of the National Guard and the state of Alabama, and we can't thank him enough for everything that he has done for us through the years, and he will be truly missed. But I feel confident if Katie Britt is elected, her having been Chief of Staff for Senator Shelby will do an outstanding job also. The legislature's had some turnover, some retirements and everything. We have a good, close working relationship with them. Their organizational meeting is going to be the 10th of January, and then the regular session starts in March. And we have several different legislative things that we're going to propose toward them. We are funded mostly by federal dollars, but we do get money from the state of Alabama to operate, to pay for our armories, to pay for our state workers. We have civilians who work with the military department, and they are state employees. I am a state employee. So, and whenever we do construction, most of the time, there is a state match that is required for the military money that they send us down. Sometimes it's a 50-50 match. Sometimes we can negotiate and get a 75-25, but we still need those state dollars to be able to maintain the facilities that we have, to ensure that our airmen and soldiers have safe environments, healthy environments, attractive environments in order to go to drill. And when you're talking about bringing young recruits into a facility that's run down, they kind of go, I don't want to be here in this dump. I want someplace nice. So when y'all are out recruiting more individuals for membership in your organization, ask them about the National Guard, because we've got a lot of benefits for them. One of the big things that General Clark mentioned that I do is our state partnership program. And this goes back to the fall of the wall in 1993, when the Eastern Bloc countries decided they wanted to align themselves more with the NATO way of doing things. And so they had to, many of them have become members of NATO. Our partner country is Romania. We have been in partnership with them since 1993, and we're one of the 13 original state partnerships from that part of the world. And I had the opportunity to entertain their chief of defense, their 4-star, which is the equivalent of General Milley in the US, and a couple of his staff members last week. And we met with the governor. We took him out to the 187th. We stayed in the Montgomery area mostly. On his next visit, we'll take him up in the tankers and everything. But we have worked very closely with him. We're working on helping develop their NCO Corps to make them more professional. If you've been watching or listening to the Russian army and some of the issues that they are having with their command and control, is if their commanders are wiped out, the war just kind of stops, because they have not empowered their NCOs to lead troops. And that's one of the things that we in the American military have always done, is everybody is a leader. And one of my favorite quotes, Mark Cuban said, you don't have to be the leader to be a leader. And that's what we try to teach everybody. Everybody is a leader out there. And so we're working with the Romanians to professionalize them. And we had some come over to our Alabama Military Institute, which is our regional training institute, to get instructor certified so they could go back and teach courses to their NCOs. And there's a constant exchange of soldiers between Romania and Alabama. Romania, if you are not a geography person, which you heard I was a chemistry person, I'm not a history, well, I am a little bit, but I'm a math science person, so had to look up Romania on the map. Big thing about Romania, they border Ukraine. And one of the things is, you know, they feel that Ukraine also has a partner in the state of California. But Ukraine not being a NATO member, we're constrained about what we can and can't do with them. Romania is a member of NATO. They are a member of the European Union. So we can do a lot more with them. In fact, This summer, the 101st Airborne moved into the port down in Costanza with the Romanians and defending the Black Sea, things like that. So Romania feels very apprehensive because they see themselves as the first line of defense since any further incursion by the Russians. And we are staunch allies. The US and Alabama are very staunch allies of the Romanians. One of my fellow cabinet members had gone, Greg Canfield with Commerce had gone to Romania on an industry recruiting mission. And he mentioned the Alabama National Guard, and he came back and was talking to me and he said, I don't know what y'all done over there, but they love you. They love the Alabama National Guard. And I said, well, we've had a long-term relationship with them. So, and that relationship is going to be celebrating its 30th anniversary next summer. And while General Petrescu, the Chief of Defense, and his staff were here last week, we were talking about some of the activities and the dates that we're going to have, because it will definitely be a huge celebration over in Europe in those 13 countries, in Washington, and also we will plan something in Alabama. So it's a great thing. We'll continue to do exercises over there. It's a great retention thing, because if you've been in the military and you've been in the National Guard, particularly the Army, you've probably been to some places like Camp Shelby, Mississippi, or Camp Blanding, Florida, or some of the National Training Center, some of those really beautiful sites that you would skip on when you're planning your family vacations. So when our soldiers and airmen get an opportunity to go somewhere outside the country, experience different cultures, and come back with stories about what they saw and what they did, it is one of the best retention tools that I can put out there. You can throw money at them, but that experience is unbelievable for them. And so we mentioned earlier on the next slide that we do have a unit deployed. Next slide. Thank you. The 135th Expeditionary Command, which is located here in Birmingham, is hopefully coming home sometime early 2023. I can tell you, I will tell you, I guess I can, I'm going to, that they are in Kuwait with elements in Jordan and Iraq and Afghanistan, and we've got some other people over in Egypt. And I was over there about a month ago visiting with them. I told them I would be happy to come see you, but I'm not coming during the summer months. And it was still 95 degrees in October. But they are doing so well and getting so much experience and garnering accolades from the active component that it's just heartwarming to go over there and see how our soldiers have embraced the job that they are doing, even though they're away from home. And this is the third or fourth time that the unit has deployed, to Kuwait, and we're on schedule to deploy again in a few years. So it's kind of like old home week when they get over there. Camp Arif John is very built up, but it's still a desert. So if you like sand, that's good. You like hot weather, but I was ready to get back to Alabama to humidity and grass. So we look forward to welcoming them home at the early part of the year. Now, in the Guard, we have over 300 different career tracks. And one of the good things that we can do is we can give you training when you go off to basic training and AIT, and forgive me for not knowing what the Air Force acronyms for that initial entry training is. But you can get certifications, you can get skills that you can use on your civilian job. And a lot of the guys in our cyber world get all sorts of certifications, in our IT world get certifications that they use and go and get civilian employment. The employer loves it because they don't have to pay for them to get those. The other thing the employer often likes is the fact that our guys already have security clearances and they don't have to pay for that. So we are very marketable in the civilian world. And we have a program that we look at partnerships between different organizations and making sure that we can get our soldiers and airmen jobs if they need jobs, and once again, taking care of soldiers and airmen. So if there's something out there that you think you want to do, ask us. We've probably got it. Mhm. The full-time benefits. Everybody knows how expensive healthcare insurance is. So as an M-Day soldier, you can get TRICARE Reserve, TRICARE Reserve Select. I will tell you that you heard my husband was retired. Well, at age 60, you're eligible to apply for TRICARE Reserve Select. He had retired from his civilian job and he was paying the full cost of Blue Cross Blue Shield. Wonderful insurance, but it's pricey. So I think it was like $800, $900 a month. Then when we went to do his retirement stuff, when he turned age 60, and also he would be drawing his retirement check for 30 years service. We were talking with, all right, this is what we want. How much will that cost? And she said, $436. And I thought, oh, okay. That's half of what we're paying a month now. That's good. And she says, no. And I said, what do you mean no? She says, oh, it's $436 a year. And I looked at my husband and I said, you know, I never thought I'd say this, but I think I'm going to like being married to a 60-year-old. So one of the great benefits, which I've covered retirement plans there, because he started drawing his retirement check as a lieutenant colonel with 30 years service, and we got to save most of $800 and something a month. And so it was a huge bump in our income. Paid education, we have ANGAP, which is Alabama National Guard Educational Assistance Program that'll pay up to $10,200 a year for anybody for tuition. There's also the GI Bill, their VA benefits, and you can transfer some of those to your dependents. And I've already mentioned the skills training and the certifications. We're always looking for employees, whether you want to be a technician, which is a federal GS or WS employee, or the AGR, Active Guard and Reserve. Home loans, life insurance, hundreds of military services that are out there, programs, benefits, and everything. So since you heard that I've been around for a long time, I guess you figured that I think being in the Guard is a good deal, and it is. And we just need to make sure that I have the tools to retain the soldiers that I have, and then also recruit people to replace us, because some of us up here are getting old and we need to pass the baton on to some others. And I want to make sure that they have all the benefits, they have all the opportunities, they have all the privileges that I have been able to enjoy throughout my career. And we want to do that. We work with our legislator. We work with our CODEL to make sure that our Guard members and their families get the benefits that they deserve for making the commitment to serve our state and nation. So with that, if you have any questions, I will be glad to